Today on CityCast Philly. According to a new report, there's traffic everywhere. Duh. But because people are returning back to the office, the roadways are packed. Personally, I try my best to avoid 76, the Benny, the Walt, Kelly Drive at all costs in the morning. I hate rush hour traffic. So, producer Abby Fritz and Hey Philly newsletter editor Brittany Valentine are here with me to dish about our traffic nightmares. It's Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. I'm Trinae Nuri, and this is CityCast Philly. Hey, Abby. Hey, Brittany.
Hey, Trinae.
Hi.
How do you all get around in the city?
So I am a SEPTA girl. I am on the bus. I'm on the subway. Public transit is where it's at for me personally. So I don't feel the 76 pain, but I understand.
It gets crowded on the bus and subway, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially I live in South Philly, so any game day, I don't even if I didn't know when it was, I would be able to tell just by getting on the BSL. And buses too, you know, if you hit it at the right time, there's always going to be traffic. And I think it's always like, is the bus going to take more time or is the BSL going to take more time, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, it's that balancing act.
Brittany, how do you get around town?
So I actually do not drive. I mostly just walk everywhere, or I use ride shares and subways. So I don't really feel the 76 pain, but my fiance, he works all the way in Conshohocken. And
so he definitely knows that pain.
Definitely feels that traffic pain, those long commutes that should be not too long, but are just because he's stuck, you know?
So according to INRIX, which has a global traffic scorecard of 2022, they track mobility data of the world's most congested areas. So they actually ranked Philly as number 10, like top 10, when it comes to the highest traffic delay times by the city. So London and Chicago were the top, respectively. Which street for you all or roadway has a lot of traffic?
For me, I've noticed it's like Chestnut, Walnut, Sampson, basically anywhere downtown in Center City, especially during rush hour. I mean, parking is an absolute nightmare as well.
Yeah, I think for me, I would say it's a little different since I take public transit, right? But I'd say the bus that never comes when it says it's going to come, or even like kind of when it should come, is the 29. Every time I try to get on the 29, I'm like, it's going to work this time. It's going to be there. And it's not. It's never there. So, you know, I don't know. I think maybe it's something about construction on the roads that the 29 goes through where they have to reroute all the time, which I know happens a lot. That's another fun game with the buses is when they're like, yeah, we're just rerouting now. So we're not going on to the same stops that you're usually on. But it's fun. I know how to get around the city now because the buses have literally taken me everywhere. How about you, Trinae? What roads has a lot of traffic for you as a driver?
So for me, I don't have to drive all over the city in the mornings, but, you know, it's pretty standard. It's the major intersections, especially when you are crossing from like neighborhood to neighborhood. So I have to go through West Philly through to North Philly. And so Girard Avenue gets crazy. And there may be like lines on the streets to like dictate which, you know, what is a lane and what's a bike lane. But then sometimes people just like make up their own lanes. So like I'm talking around the zoo area. If you're coming out of North Philly and you're going towards West Philly, people make up like they drive on top of the trolley tracks. So they make up their own lanes.
Oh my God.
So that just like causes chaos. Sometimes if you're trying to explain directions for someone, you have to tell them about the nuances of the road for that particular time of the day because they're going to get kind of like bullied in traffic or people are going to start honking their horns at them because they don't know the system. It's so bizarre, but it just happens.
Wait, Trinae, I have a question. What you just said reminded me of my partner used to have a car here, and they would talk about the swag lane on highways. I know it's such a stupid name. The emergency lane, I have been told that this is the swag lane. So people will just use it on the highways if they just have decided
I've
this
never
is
heard
thing.
it called a swag lane, but
Yeah.
yeah, like I would say for sure, 76, or if you're leaving the sports stadium complex, somebody is going to do something wild and they're going to drive in that lane. But it's such a risk because if the state troopers see you or the Philly cops, you're getting a ticket.
It's over. It's over.
I feel like, though, the few times I've driven in Philly, people really have faith that they're just going to get away with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
lights are a suggestion. I mean, just
For
looking down Broad and just seeing that everybody has just decided, yeah, we're just going to park in the median. And even the government's like, even like Philly, like police and the city's like, yeah, I guess this is fine. We've just decided that these things that are literally illegal, it's just like, whatever, it's just going to happen. So I don't know.
Yeah, I do remember like a few years back, I think this might have been around like, early pandemic. Like, listen, some of these traffic violations that y'all be doing, we're not even going to, like, we don't even care anymore because it's so much other stuff going on that, like, whatever. But yeah, for sure, people do not use yellow as like, okay, I'm going to start to yield. No, I'm getting through this thing because I'm not waiting another 2 minutes because I do not want to be stuck in traffic. Come on, Girard Avenue is wild in the morning. There's like 15 lanes all going like, and like, tell your kids to put their seatbelts on because mama is hitting that gas because we got to get to school.
Yeah, buckle up, baby.
So, okay, I got to talk about how I avoid these crazy intersections. Some of them you can't, but some of them you can. So like, Kelly Drive, I know that Kelly Drive is like a major roadway in the city, but really sometimes Kelly Drive will connect you from Center City if you need to go like all the way to Germantown, if you want to get to like certain burbs. The traffic kind of like flows. So if you need to like kind of like keep it going, keep your commute going, I recommend that. Also, you have to, as a Philadelphian, if you've lived here a long time, if you just got here, if you can figure out how to get through Fairmount Park, you'll go in Fairmount Park and you come out on a completely other neighborhood. And you're like, what the heck? I didn't even know this connected. And it's like, I could not tell you. So if you want to hit us up and you want to ask, like, how do you get from here to here? I could probably, like, figure it out. Google Maps really helps. The Strawberry Mansion Bridge, I believe that's what it's called, that could take you from North Philly all the way to, like, Bala Cynwyd.
Wow.
Seriously? I didn't know that.
There's, like, no lights.
I did not know
You
that.
go, like, through this, like, back way. You just basically go across the bridge, go around the windy bend, keep going left. You're going to go past the tennis courts. You're gonna be like, oh my God, I never even knew there's tennis courts all the way in Fairmount Park. Yes. You're going to go by that jungle gym for adults.
That's my favorite.
You're like zip lining through trees. You're going to go past that. And then you're going to end up on Belmont Avenue. Once you get to Belmont Avenue, you're going to figure out, oh, okay, I can figure out where I am now. But there's also this like a little bridge you got to go through. If you can figure that out,
you're solid. You got to go on a little bit of a journey.
You made it. You made it in Philly. And if you can navigate Fairmount Park,
you're golden.
You can make it anywhere.
Facts. Facts.
I'm glad you brought up the phone being a resource because I think that's probably something that drivers have over public transit users because,
for sure,
the lines aren't changing. The buses, they might a little bit. You might get detoured a bit, but most of the time you can get back on track. But no matter if you're using the SEPTA app, if you're on Google Maps, whatever it's on, it's always like, oh my God, it's going to be here in 2 minutes. No, it's not.
Lies.
All right. So if the buses are acting wacky, if the train is a little slow, do you go for a rideshare option?
I mean, yeah, of course. I've definitely had to Uber. Totally. I've definitely had to Lyft. I've never taken a taxi in Philly, but I think most of the time I'm cheap and I will find a way. Like if the 29 is not working, I will walk to the 79.
Okay, so I'm curious though, if you're in a rideshare or maybe a taxi, do you prefer them to go their own way? Or should they just follow the app directions? Let's say you're sitting in traffic. What if your rideshare wants to go in the swag lane?
No. Well,
And they're listen, you wanted to get to that doctor's appointment? You want to get to the game, to the club, to the bar? Your friends are waiting.
we're gonna book it in the swag lane. Honestly, like a lot of the time, so I'm very much a rideshare queen because I came from the suburbs and it took me a little bit to like navigate the public transit system and even just get used to walking around. And with my rideshare experiences, a lot of people are literally not from here. So they're legit following GPS. I'm like, I can't help them. They can't help me. I'm like, you get me there. Like,
Okay. This might seem so silly, but if you look at a street sign and you see the numbers above the name of the street, that will tell you the 100th block that you're on. Everyone kind of knows that. Okay. So it's not like, okay, I'm telling y'all something that y'all don't know. Okay, never mind, because I just like recently figured that out. Maybe like 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, that's why people say the 1600 block.
Wait. Okay, you know what? This is actually brand new information for me. I didn't want to admit it because I thought that everyone else knew.
Maybe it's just because I literally walk everywhere, like especially in the summer, and like that's how I like to learn cities too, where it's just like I'm always looking up at signs when I'm walking around and I'm like, this is where I am.
Yeah, see, I'm a landmark gal. Like I like know places because it's near Love Park or because it's near this, restaurant or this my favorite store. I'm like, I know how to get to Rittenhouse Square because it's next to. I'm like, that's how I go. I mean, I know the streets, but I just be walking.
So going back to that scorecard that we talked about earlier, it says that in Philly, we actually lose 114 hours because of traffic. So do you all physically feel that time lost on your commutes?
So I personally don't, but I know for a fact that my fiance does because, he'll just come home sometimes and it's so much later than he could be home and he's just sitting in bumper to bumper traffic. And this is even like during all this time when people have been working remote, like it still has been so rough. So yeah, I can see that in him. Like you can see how it physically is draining. And like that's so many hours.
Yeah.
Like I can't even process that.
Yeah. The thing that makes 76 crazy, and even Kelly Drive at times, is that these roadways are 2-lane highways. It's not built for modern day traffic, I feel like. So it's just really irritating. I know that sometimes, they talk about adding more lanes, like 95. 95 has the space. I feel like they have the budget. I feel like, I don't know what's going on, like why 95 gets so much attention. Maybe because it's connecting the whole like East Coast, but I mean, 95 also has its traffic issues for sure, especially if there's construction. But 76, I know people are like stressed. You could hear it in the way that they're honking and they're yelling at each other to like, hurry up, get out the way. You're moving too slow.
Oh, the road rage is so real.
Yeah.
Philly needs some freeways. like California. Need some of those nice little 6-laners.
That would be nice.
Truly.
But, yeah, you'd think it would help, but clearly it didn't help California, so maybe not.
I heard LA, it gets wild.
Oh my God. I don't want to talk about LA. Yeah, no, I feel it definitely on public transit, especially I feel like with how our bus systems are set up and where I live, it literally takes me an hour to get to Walmart on my Saturday. And it's like, there's my Saturday gone to go get my little like sugar and flour and whatever it is I need, my cat litter. But why I brought this up too is like I was really excited when we heard about this bus revolution because I was like, oh my God, there's a bus revolution. Thanks, SEPTA. We're going to have some nice new routes. Like, this is awesome. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh no, they cut from 125 routes to 99 routes. So they did the opposite of what I wanted. And when I was reading out about this, there's an article from WHIY that says they have to cut lines because the federal recovery funds are going to run out in 2025. And so they're trying to find the best ways to cut bus routes, save money, but also still serve the most amount of people. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? The buses was not the place to do it because now people are, the city council held a meeting and people were like, it's going to be hard for me to get to my doctor's office. It's going to be hard for my kids to get to school. They're going to have to take multiple buses now. And some of the less frequent lines are also going to be less frequent in when they come. So it's like if you're going on major lines, it probably helps because they've cut the lines shorter and there's more frequent times. But for any of the smaller lines, it sounds like it's going to be worse, but they've pushed this off till 2024. I think they're saying the fall of 2024, and they're taking suggestions and recommendations. So please, everybody go complain about this because this is not a bus revolution. This is a bus letdown as far as it looks to me.
And Brittany, you heard from one of our Hey Philly readers, right?
So I do have some feedback from a Hey Philly reader who mostly gets around via scooter and bike. And she said that Philly has definitely improved for like bike safety, but there was a time where there were like no lanes in University City. And she said a SEPTA bus literally brushed up against her, potentially on purpose. And she said in I know. She said in the downtown area, it's really bad for bikes. There's a lot of bumps. There's really no space between cars. And she said, parking is a whole another story because there's so much fear around that, like losing a part or having it stolen. So, we're all on the struggle bus, if you will.
Yeah. We definitely need to do an episode about the bike lanes and improving that system for our neighbors. All right, before I let y'all go, I don't want to leave with all this doom and gloom, but I would say my recommendation for maybe better days to travel in the city would be Sunday. Sunday when the Eagles are playing. You want to get somewhere, go then.
That's
go when
exactly.
people are in the house. And Sundays tend to be a little bit slower. People are at brunch. People are just more relaxed. So maybe that's when you want to get out and do your shopping or whatever you got to do. But yeah, either figure out how to navigate Fairmount Park for Monday through Friday or good luck.
Fairmount Park is the key, apparently.
Yeah.
All right, CityCast Philly producer Abby Fritz and Hey Philly newsletter editor Brittany Valentine. Thanks, y'all, for joining me on this episode.
Thanks for having me, Trinae.
Thank you. Thanks for the pro tips.
We'll have a link to that traffic scorecard in our show notes. And listen, if you want to join this conversation, you want to let us know your crazy public transit nightmare stories or what best roads you use to get around the traffic, hit us up at 215-259-8170. Again, that's 215-259-8170. You can call or text us or leave a voicemail. And here's what else Philly's talking about. The city is suspending an anti-violence grant awarded to the Guns Down, Gloves Up, a youth boxing program. According to the Inquirer, the program improperly funneled $76,000, and it's now the target of 2 investigations from the Police Internal Affairs and the City Inspector General. Are you going to the Super Bowl this year? I wish I had tickets. But if you're planning for the trip, you might be able to get a flight on Southwest. According to CBS 3, the airline carrier announced it was adding more nonstop flights from Philly to Phoenix. And check out our Hey Philly newsletter on how to access some really cool museums in the city for free or a discounted price. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter too. It's called Hey Philly. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.
I think most of the time I'm cheap and I will find a way. Like if the 29 is not working, I will go to the 76 and I will walk. You know, it's like 4 or 5 more blocks. That's fine.
Wait, when you say 76, you mean like there's a bus 76?
I meant the 79 actually.
Oh, okay.
The 79.
I
Yeah,
was like,
the 29 and the
walk
79.
to 76?
Oh, no.
I don't think I should. I don't think you should recommend it.
No, 29, 76. So we've just been talking about 76. I'm mixing up my numbers now.
76.